I'm headed out tonight to get a coffee at my favorite spot. Um, that's about it. I didn't really do much today. I did go over to, and I forgot, I was going to take this video while I was doing this, but I went over to the bank to pick up the transfer that you guys sent. Because, I mean, I could have done it earlier, but I was trying to actually just leave it in my bank in the U.S. as long as possible. We're getting close to the end of the month, so I didn't want to cut it too close. So I went over and picked it up today. And I was supposed to be doing some writing for school. In fact, I'm supposed to have done that all week. Writing up like, what do you call it? The things that teachers do. Lesson plans, yeah. That. I'm also trying to write out just like something to convince them to have a curriculum for the school. I gotta say, not one school that I have worked for in the past 5 years has a curriculum. They just don't develop curriculums for the students. So every teacher is just winging it, whatever they can do. Here, no sugar.
I know, sir.
I don't have to worry about my diet when I can get coffee if I order it black. But also the coffee is good here. I think I've talked about this before anyway. If it's good, you don't really need sugar. The coffee's good. Most coffee's not good though. To be fair, most coffee is real crap. That building behind me, I was just thinking which direction I should point because I've got a nice view here, but that building is really nice. It's these two right here that are really fancy high-end. The reason is because of this view, well, that view right there. That's a really pretty view. That's why I come in and sit here every evening. She's got good coffee and the view is fantastic, and yeah, can't argue with that. So yeah, so I guess that's why they're there. And there's a couple of really nice buildings on this side of the island that face out. They're quite fancy. The only thing is, like, I don't know if I would want an apartment that nice or a condo that nice in Hanoi. This is not a bad town. I don't dislike it. I'm not trying to badmouth it, but you know, if I was gonna have something like that, I think I'd put it on the beach because there's a lot of nice beaches, a lot of nice beach towns here in Vietnam. Yeah, so I question putting it here. Although this is a nice island to put it on if you're gonna be here. Come on, thank you. Yeah. Stay off. I just put it on in case I'm gonna walk by people. I mean, honestly, it gets really hot in the middle of the day, and as long as you're outside, I think you're okay. Unless you're walking into like a crowd or a group or something. That's why I kind of put it on. And we've been walking around, doing our walk around the lake, and there is not 2 minutes of that walk where you're not passing by a ton of people. Yeah, it's the only thing I don't like about it. So you kind of have to wear the mask, and then it gets really hot if you're exercising with the mask on. They're not designed for exercise. I know I know it's not going to kill you. It's not one of the, like people are saying, if you breathe in your own carbon dioxide, you will die. I think that just shows a level of scientific ignorance that really should be the concern in the country. I mean, your country, not this one. It's not a concern here because these people don't vote. Just got people in charge that know what they're doing. And right now, that's a really good thing. I'm in favor of that. Yeah. Sorry, I was just referring to like what I've heard on the internet is going on in the U.S. I don't have any clue really what's going on in the U.S. because I'm not there. But I do hear that people are. There's also conspiracy theories, and the masks are more are unhealthy than the virus is. No, the virus is more unhealthy. No one dies because they're wearing a mask. Even if it's a bit uncomfortable, it is not deadly. Virus, however, deadly. It can kill you. But people come out there, they come up with stuff in their head. I guess they just dream up that the mask is going to kill you because they don't want to wear it. They could just be honest and say, I don't want to wear it. And then they just don't get to go out and go into places, I think. But who knows? I'm not in charge anyway. I'm just winging it here. It looks like COVID here is, I don't want to say gone because I got no wood to knock on. It looks like it's under control. The numbers are back down into like single digits. And the only place there's new cases popping up is Da Nang, where it, first had its resurgence. And I still, to this day, the only thing I can figure is that people are saying, that illegal Chinese immigrants sneaking across the border, that's who brought it in the second time. Which is possible. I mean, I don't have an explanation for how it happened. We went 99 days without a single case in the whole country, and then all of a sudden there was just an explosion of new cases in Da Nang. And a few in other cities. We had a few here in Hanoi, but I think we're down to one here. And it's, they're quarantined, whoever it is. I hope I'm loud enough. I have to practice speaking. I have to project like I'm on stage. Now here's the thing. Here's why I didn't believe that it was illegal Chinese immigrants sneaking across the border. Because Da Nang is halfway down the country. Maybe I can get a map on if I do a longer video sometime and do some editing or whatever. But basically, Vietnam is a very thin country. It goes like that. Kind of looks like a banana. Yeah, it kind of does look like a banana, and the top is like the peel opening up. Anyway, so China is up at the top. That's where you'd be if you snuck across from China. And Da Nang, where they first found the new viruses when it came up again, Da Nang is halfway down the country. It's famously was involved in the Vietnam War because it was like the midpoint between the North Vietnam and South Vietnam. So that was where a lot of the fighting was, a lot of the front lines, I guess, between the two was at Da Nang. It's right in the middle of the country. Now, how is it an illegal immigrant sneaking across the border into Vietnam going to end up in Da Nang spreading the virus before it appears in other places? It just doesn't make any sense. This would be the first place it was. But they might have just been blaming Chinese people. It might have been illegal immigrants coming from Laos, because that would be the closest country. Laos or Cambodia, I'm not sure which is closer to Da Nang, but one of those two, and that would make sense because those are very poor countries, and I can see them trying to sneak into Vietnam where the economy is a little better. That would make sense. I mean, there's poor people in China too. It's just that if you're not making it in China, I don't know why it would be better to sneak into Vietnam. China's got a better economy. A bit better. I mean, Vietnam's doing well, but... So I'm sure there are immigrants, but it seems like, given what's going on in the world this year, I would think sneaking across into Vietnam would be at a minimum right now if you're in China. But I can totally see why people in Laos or something might sneak across. And also, when the border with Vietnam and Laos and this part of the Southeast Asia, unless you're on a main road, I don't think you're crossing a border. They don't have a fence up. So people that really live way out in the jungle, like very poor people, that happen to be close to the border, they probably go back and forth and don't even know they're doing it. easy to post a guard and a temperature check and all these precautions if you're at a main checkpoint like you would have on a highway or at an airport or something like that. But if you're just in a rural area and you just happen to be close to the border, there's no checkpoint. They're not. There's no wall. There's no fence. It's just it's not an area that most of the world is even going to go out and find. But these people live there, so I just think that's probably more likely how it happened. And then it just made its way down into Da Nang. And honestly, poor people, they could be dying of the disease and never know it. They never make it to a hospital. They can't afford it, and there's probably not one close to them unless they happen to live, relatively close to a big or a medium-sized city. That's not really an advantage for, but I have thought for this virus, this is one of the few positives of being in a country that has a really decimated economy, is that, well, it's not necessarily the case, but if you live in a country that is really very poor, rural, agricultural, then there's not that much transmission of disease, and they're spending most of their day, if it's agricultural, they're spending most of their day outside anyway. So there. Oh, and they say that if you're outside, you have a very, very small chance of transmitting the virus or catching it. So being outside. 3 cheers for being outside or in your apartment alone, which is what I like to do with the air conditioning on. It's kind of a big advantage here too, because like I'm sitting right here, there's nobody anywhere near me. If Terry came out and we had coffee right here, we'd be sitting about 6 feet apart. Maybe just slightly less, but by the time we put our chairs out here and turn them to where we can reach for the table with the coffee on it and prop our feet up, we're probably about 6 feet apart. Outdoor dining is more common here than indoor dining. Everybody eats at the little street-side cafes and traditional restaurants. That's popular all over Asia. It's just a lot easier. And since the weather's always, decent here, it gets cool in the winter, but never cold. So and most of the year it's pretty hot. And and this is probably the coldest place in Southeast Asia. The rest of it is just summer weather all year round. I mean, it's tropical, so it's just tropical all year. So everybody around this area is eating out all the time outside. It's only the highfalutin rich people that try and eat indoors, and then they get COVID. Take that, rich people. I was thinking Africa too, because their population, and this goes for other developing countries where they have a population pyramid where the bottom is really wide. In other words, there's a lot of young people. They're really not being hit as hard. There was accusations in the beginning of some African country that was just not taking it seriously, or they just weren't reporting it, or something. And I was like, really though? Because they have very few old people. If you're a poor country, people don't get old. So again, like I guess it's just trying to look on the bright side, but that is one of the big advantages of being a poor country. Most of your population is young. You don't have to spend so much on healthcare. A lot of healthcare money goes to older people, which is great if you've got the money. But these African countries, they're not being hit as hard. I know there's a spread; it's there, but the populations are so young. It's not like what the West is experiencing. So there you go. That's it. I've yammered on. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these nice buildings in the background.